GM. Oh, how rude of me. That was terrible.
Sorry.
Forgot to bring you up on the stage. My bad. Wow, look at that. New PFP. Who dis?
I love my scientist. I tend to be averse to NFTs that make you work. I am a big proponent of push button win lottery. I am not here to draw. I am not here to design my NFT. That is your job. I am here to pay you money for my lottery ticket. This, on the other hand, was a pleasurable, fun experience in which once I had made my scientist, I found myself going, fuck, I want to make like 6 more now. There were so many cool traits I had to pass up to make my scientist. So loved the process, loved the lore, loved the game. Very proud to be wearing my scientist this morning.
Yeah, man, I fully agree with you on that. I'm not big on those like customize your own NFTs. I don't even really like NFTs where it's just like, oh, you know, you can earn this and add on to it and you can change the glasses and stuff like that. Like, I get it. They're doing different things and trying different things out, but you know, to me, the fun and the value and all of that stuff is that, you know, minting and, you know, getting the unopened pack of Pokemon cards and you're excited to open it up, see what's inside of it, or you know, you go shopping on the secondary. You look for ones that are cool because the algorithm or the randomization of it just picked a bunch of traits that look really great together. Building your own seems like so against it to me, but as you said, like the experience of it, going through the process, it was so well done. Like I actually had a great time with it. I only made the one, but I think I'm gonna go back and make a second one. But they look fantastic too.
Yeah, amazing. And it's a 48-hour free mint. What I loved about what they did here is you may or may not participate in the P2E part of the economy. And you could have put as much into it as you want. It was
Oh, there was no cap? I thought there was a cap, sorry.
No cap. You could have put in 50% of the total pool and owned 50% of the total pool until other people obviously put more ETH in there, but you can contribute as much ETH as you want and adjust it. So it was up to you how much of a financial stake you wanted in the game. Loved that. I you know, we talk about augmented a lot because they are approaching NFTs and especially P2E differently, boldly. They're not just following a model. It may have been one of the most hyped drops of all time, but they don't manufacture hype for the sake of hype. And starting to see them deliver what they have been over the last few months has really been amazing to watch.
Yeah, they just kind of keep going, right? Like they put out these great things. They're trying different things. They're executing in a different way. They had the rooftop rampage game, which was just so much fun just to even play. But it was kind of the first thing that I could think of that was kind of like a play to mint style process, right? Like we hadn't really seen something like that before. I think that was something that they kind of if they didn't pioneer it, if they weren't the first to do it, they were the first to do it incredibly well.
Yep. We love Kaiju Kings and Augmented Labs, and their game coming out is called Monster vs. Monster. Again, Sciences is a free mint. So go mint yours, whether you are going to P2E it or not. The minimum to contribute, if you would like to participate in the earn part of the play to earn, is 0.06666. But as I said, you can inject as much ETH as you want into it, and you will own the respective amount of said pool, which the currency is called scales. This is a different currency than our waste, which is the underlying currency that Genesis kaijus earn. So this is a different currency. It will be what you use to play a large part of the game. And like I said, whether you actually inject ETH or not, go mint your free scientist. I think this is going to be historic. I really do. What Augmented is building here. So
really, yeah, I mean, well, I guess we'll touch on it a little bit later on in the show too. I'm just excited to own anything kaiju related at this point because I still haven't pulled the trigger on buying anything. Although I do think I'm going to soon.
So. Babies are cheap. And Dekenza, I tried for you. I sent R2 the song yesterday. I told him to play it on the show. And
oh shit,
we'll have to do it today.
Yeah, I will do that today too. Yeah, we'll do it at the end of the show. We'll wrap the show up with the Bitcoin Boy song.
As the CEO of Unemployed, I have power to make that happen. So we are going to play that later in the show.
Man, the first time I saw that, I thought it was there was a lot of shade throwing, but you explained it to me.
Yeah, those are the best type of videos where, you know, if you don't know this young lady who is an absolute star, and of course now July, who is the fastest rising star in our whole, and if you don't know, July is the long-haired guy, and I am hearing rumors about him performing at NFT NYC and Ape Fest. I know a lot of people have been in contact with him, but yeah, this is a song that comes off as making fun of crypto, but in reality, these people are crypto fans, and it's a joy, it's a pleasure.
I'm here for the self-deprecating humor, of course.
It is phenomenal, and it's true. I would argue that a lot of what these young ladies, the points that they're making, are true, and it triggers a bunch of incels, but for the rest of us, it's
very yes, that is true. You want to get the show on the road?
Sure. Put it in.
Wow, love the enthusiasm this morning. GM Degens, welcome to episode 124. I forgot to change the title of the show. Episode 124 of the AM show. It is May 17th. We had a good Monday. Good to be back on the air with Free Market, of course, after that week off. Yesterday's show was spent a lot of time breaking down what happened to the markets over the past week. Of course, the Luna and Terra crash and all of that. But as of right now, that seems to be kind of at a standstill, and it is still kind of going down. People are still playing it. On that note, I am your host, R2DJ, and I'm joined with me, as always, by FMC.
Hey now.
Hey now, FMC up here rocking the new Kaiju Scientist profile picture. It's looking super sleek. Shout out to Dots. Shout out to Augmented Labs for that drop. It was an absolutely wonderful experience, even if it was a little bit counterintuitive to what we normally know in the NFT space. But they crushed it as always.
Shout out to I never know how to pronounce his name. Phil 3L Threll.
3LLL.
Yeah, 3L, their artist, who I don't know, continues to really kill it. I have said this a lot that Kaiju Kings is my favorite art from last. There's a few projects that I hold up there, Crypto Mores, Lemons, etc. But I have always loved the Kaiju art. I mean, we're obviously pixel art fans here, and I just think that 3L continues to really kill it. So shout out to him. They put together. It was fun. You know, there were classic Kaiju traits. There were some new traits. And of course, there were all the partnership traits with all the projects that they've been collabing with. If you are in Star Wolves, as an example, you had the ability to mint your Star Wolf goggles trait. There was a bit of a glitch early on where only the Genesis Wolves were able to mint the Star Wolves trait, but they did fix that. So it is available to everybody who is a Star Wolves holder now. And they did that partnership with a lot of projects. out there. So if you want to rep your trait from your favorite project that partnered with Kaijus, that's available. The game, there is part of the game ready to go immediately after you mint your scientist, and you could start playing. And it is, they are putting together something I don't think I have seen within NFTs and on-chain gaming. It's large, it's elaborate, it's very, very cared for. They've been building it since, I want to say, October. I believe that's when
For sure, yeah.
I believe that's when they minted, and it's coming to fruition now. Just go check out the site, the voiceover, the way that you play the game. I love everything about it. So huge shout out to Nathan, Dots, Maddo, Tyler, everybody over there. Amazing launch. And again, you still have about a little over 24 hours to mint your free scientist. And NFA, I injected ETH. I would recommend you inject ETH too. I know we're trying to move away from play to earn, but I think it is an extremely profound part of on-chain gaming that shouldn't be completely dismissed. So, if it's only the minimum, inject a bunch of ETH with your scientist and get in that game.
Yeah, for sure. It was a great experience, and I'll pull up some of the tabs and stuff that I have a little bit later. Other than the scientists, how was the rest of your Monday? We did the Moon Monday Spaces. That was a huge hit yesterday, and very excited about that. What else did you get up to?
Well, I mean, yesterday we're at a very interesting area in markets. So it's really, yesterday we got the New York Fed Manufacturing Index. Now, without getting too deep into what those numbers mean, it was a plus 25 and we got a minus 11. That is a huge, huge miss. That's a miss that if we weren't expecting it, the market would have tanked 5%. That's how bad a miss. That's the type of miss where you go, oh, we've been in a recession for a month. Like it's not about if we're in one. We've been in a recession when you see a number like that. And it's definitely true. We have probably been shrinking GDP wise, at least for the last month. This
Well, I think are we not going into the second quarter? Like if this quarter is another GDP shrinkage, like we are officially in a technical definition of a recession.
I think most people believe we are in a technical definition of a recession. The debate at this point is, does it turn into a depression? Does it turn into something that lingers? Is this going to be a 2-year recession, or is the recession almost over already? Like, again, all the data that we get is backwards looking. And I am not saying it's over, and I'm not saying that it means that the recession is behind us, but you have to take a few variables into account. And when I look at what happened with the market yesterday, as I just said to you, had this number caught us off guard, had we not expect, and of course, when you're expecting a plus 25 and you get a minus 11, you weren't expecting that, but we know sentiment in the market right now is expecting bad things to happen every other day, every other week. Another shoe drops, war, inflation, systemic risk, whatever it is. People are in that mode. They're ready for bad surprises so that they can react negatively to them. Well, what happened? The market was flat to slightly up. And that said something to me. That said that level of bad news is starting to get baked into prices. I also talked about a technical pattern that presented itself last week called a morning star. And that's a Ichimoku bullish reversal pattern that happens at bottoms. We printed it perfectly. Not only that, we had follow through, and I haven't checked in 30 minutes, but it looked like we were having follow through on the market this morning. With the S&Ps, you can see right there, ripping up over 1%. NASDAQ and Russell are falling. Interestingly, crypto is not ripping with the velocity you would think, given what's happening now in stocks. I think a lot of that has to do with Jay Powell, our Fed chief, coming out and speaking later today. I think
Actually, I'm just going to say ETH and Bitcoin are actually starting to take a little bit of a run, even just from when we started talking. Maybe not that outsized run that we look for against the S&P. I mean, you mentioned the S&P; it's up, 1.3%, which is huge for that, up 51 points right now. But ETH is at 2120, and it's up 5.4%. Even when we were doing the pre-show, that was only up 2% on the 24 hours. So it's going on a little bit of a run, and Bitcoin is really convincing. Well, maybe not convincingly, but it has shot back up over that 30,000 and is taking a pretty solid run at 31,000 right now. So maybe we're just having a little bit of a lag. Maybe it was waiting for the market to actually open to decide what was going on.
Yeah, and we want to watch that 2170-ish area. That was the last area that knocked us down over the weekend. We looked like we were ready to break free, and then overnight, Asia wakes up and just planked us into yesterday morning. Maybe it was people knowing that Fed number was coming, expecting a very negative reaction off of it. And again, what it feels like right now is that all the bad news we are or can get is baked in. And if we really want lower prices, we're going to need a surprise. Whatever that surprise, something much worse than expected. Jay Powell coming out today and being more hawkish than expected. This type of thing. Otherwise, I expect a pretty healthy relief bounce in the S&Ps and ETH. ETH has major resistance at 2,400. And, that's one reason a relief bounce here feels like a chip shot. We could get up to 2,400. We wouldn't even be bullish. If we got to 2,400, the chart would still be bearish. It's a nice relief bounce, but it wouldn't change anything about the demeanor of the market. And I would expect us to sell off of that level. Now, I would hope that we would find support between 2,200 and 2,400, create the next level and head up from there. But honestly, 2,400 at this point would just be a reflexive move. You could argue it was short covering to an extent. And the same with the S&Ps. I'm looking at like 4,300-ish, 4,400-ish on the S&Ps. This would be a natural reflexive move that would just bounce into the downtrend line, and we would still need to prove ourselves as bulls by getting above that with some velocity and then actually changing the temperament of the chart. So I do think we have bottomed short term, but we have a ways to go before it flips any of these charts technically bullish. And of course, we have macro concerns on the daily, and we'll see what Jay Powell says today. I do expect him to be dovish.
Why is he speaking? Is it about yesterday's numbers that came out?
No. I mean, these are just scheduled.
Okay.
These are scheduled meetings that the Fed talks about what's going on, and obviously the main concern with all market participants right now is interest rates and how quickly they're going to go up. Right now, everybody is baking in 0.5%. Thinks it can be as bad as getting 0.75%, and nobody is expecting them to be dovish and say we're only going to raise 0.25%. If we get hints that's a possibility, here's the things we want to hear. We want to hear that they expect inflation to start abating, that the worst is behind us, that a soft landing is probable, and that things are not as bad as they say. That would make the market think maybe we're not getting 0.5% on the next rate hike. Now, I have to imagine they're going to raise rates. For them to not raise rates next time would be a huge surprise to markets. I would not expect that, but I think there's a small possibility they could decide to only raise 0.25%. I mean, the one negative we have is that it seems that the Fed wants stocks to go down. Now, I don't know how much they want them to go down. I don't know how long they want to target risk assets, but because they engaged in quantitative tightening, or QT, a term you're going to hear a lot over the next few years, instead of just raising interest rates, that's a direct signal from the Fed that they want risk assets to cool off for one reason or the other. Now, I would argue they have cooled off more than enough, so you do not need to help them.
Yeah, exactly.
But we will see. I mean, I am not Jay Powell. I am not the Fed. I am not seeing what they are seeing. Let us, we'll find out in a bit. But the smart money today expects them to be dovish. And I do think that's going to create a very short term, at the least, relief rally.
So let me ask you this, and I know that, for people listening, this is, an NFT show by and large, but, this is the conversation that is dominating, everything, and markets going down, everyone's losing their shirt, blah, 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 blah. When I was listening to a podcast, they started talking about a consumer credit crisis. And it's essentially that, all of these assets have gone up and up and up, inflated. Everybody starts living off cheap debt because they feel like they have this abundance of capital now. Their net worth has gone up. Markets take a plunge. Credit interest rates go up. But people, consumers, not businesses, but consumers start to, or don't adjust their lifestyle. And what happens is that credit keeps going up and up and up with no way for people to pay that back. Is that something that you're aware of? Is that something that you think will factor into it? Because they said, like, when the way they were talking about it was that it creates a completely different problem, where then they'll have to inject liquidity back into the markets, and then we just start this cycle all over again.
I think that would be kind of some of our argument. Like, that's why I don't know if we have a full picture understanding of what's going on. I am a big, shock to a lot of people in crypto, but I'm a fiat bull. I'm a believer in modern monetary theory. I don't even think we've printed enough money. I actually think there's so much slack in the economy because we hesitated to print money for so long. You have to understand, a fixed dollar supply is very dangerous in a population that grows as fast as we've been growing. You could argue it's starting to plateau now, and it is. Birth rates are starting to plateau, especially in developed nations. I always use the
which is a bad thing too, right? Like, society is the biggest Ponzi of it all, right? We need to keep adding more people into the mix.
This is it. This is it. Okay, capitalism is a Ponzi, but it is a Ponzi based on the natural effects. In other words, nature, right? We have more babies. We are having more babies up until now, and maybe we're plateauing, but you cannot ignore the last 40 years in which population growth has far outpaced money supply. That's not good. That limits growth. Us hindering growth for that many decades has had consequences. Now, I'm actually a proponent of increasing money supply. I think they should have increased it more. And I don't think there's any we are in the era of investment. Okay. We came from the Industrial Revolution. We are now in the investment revolution. Your average person, that is going to be the job in the future. Okay. Capital needs to find labor. Labor creates production. All right. Technology has given us the ability to link capital with labor in a way that has never happened before. Your average person can now deploy capital to labor that creates production. This is the new era we're in. I do not think the Fed should be fighting these things. I think there is a ton of slack in the economy. They should print more money, and quantitative tightening is something that I am against. People will always point out that the issue is that wages have not risen as fast as inflation because we are printing it. Now, I can get into debate as to how printing money doesn't actually cause inflation, okay? And all the money that we have printed is not what has caused prices to go up 10% the last couple of years. That is a factor of two things. That is a factor of supply chain issues, in which we have had incredibly challenging manufacturing conditions for multiple years because of this pandemic. Okay.
And that's twofold, right? Because demand is going up because the amount of money available to people to spend is high, but also the labor force is not. I think that maybe is the biggest concern for the Fed right now is the labor force is actually not in a great shape.
Right.
The numbers I heard was that they're still having a hard time getting people back to work.
Exactly. And the other factor there, when it comes to inflation, okay, so here's the misnomer. The printing of money causes inflation, right? But where does the money print from? It prints from the Fed. That's why everybody considers the Fed to be this evil entity and the Fed, blah, blah, blah. But the quote unquote inflation you have experienced over the last 2 years has been the supply chain one and direct stimulus from the Treasury. That money did not come from the Fed. The Fed did not say, we're going to print a bunch of money and give it to people. That money came directly from the US Treasury and was handed out to your average person. That is what caused the inflation that you are seeing. Asset reflation, which is what we've been doing, that is what quantitative easing is. It is what we've been doing for over a decade now. All of that money goes to banks. They don't spend that money. They don't lend that. Go try to get a loan after Dodd-Frank. Do you know how hard it is? Do you know the requirements needed to get a good rate on a loan nowadays? It is extremely strict since 2009, since the entire global economy almost went under. They put some pretty strict rules into place. Capital doesn't go places easily, but it does inflate asset. This is what the Fed is saying. Your new job is acquiring assets because we're going to make them go up. That's why I'm a big proponent of quantitative easing, and I don't really get the QT here. I mean, my best guess as to what's going on is that these other factors have caused such a disjointment that we need to that that the QE is now having unwanted effects. Essentially, that they weren't before, not because the QE has gotten out of hand, but these other variables are affected. I'll be listening to Jay Powell very closely today to see what he has to say.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your take on it. I mean, there's so many moving parts to this. Like, we could have this conversation, I'm sure, for hours. And I remember listening to the Squeeze yesterday where you were dropping some science on it too. So,
and people should know, economics are a pseudoscience. Like that's a
well, and like, how does this? Sorry, and I want you to finish that thought, but relate it back to NFTs. Why does this matter to us?
Well,
I know that sounds obvious, but
the only reason that it matters to us is because macro is driving crypto, and because crypto crashed 50%, people don't want to buy NFT. It's caused a risk-off environment where people don't want to buy NFTs. But this is. If we are entering the investment revolution or the investor revolution as we're coming out of the industrial revolution and the computer revolution, this investor revolution, that is NFTs are going to be at the center of it. Remember, NFTs are the fractionalization of culture. Everything that you are sold on a daily basis is culture. That's what art is. Most of the stuff you engage with on a daily basis is art. Right? You may go out and do mechanical things to earn money, and then you come home and you spend it on art. Of course, you spend a certain amount to survive, but any extra money you have, you spend on art. Okay? That is why NFTs are so powerful. It is the fractionalization of culture. We've never seen the monetization of it so effective because somebody who is a star, who is not fungible, and he can then break himself up into a bunch of small pieces and give access. I mean, and that's just a small example. As we know, art is the Trojan horse for NFTs. This is really just digital provenance. And that is an extremely powerful concept in an investor's revolution, in the investor world, because most of the stuff we invest in is digital. So,
and I think that's incredibly important too, because people hear the creator economy, and I think there's some eye rolls because I think it's viewed as just like TikTokers or Instagram influencers, but it's not really. It's the idea that now you can monetize the creative elements, where the idea of the starving artist. I mean, how long has that existed for? Right now, monetization of an artist in perpetuity is more accessible than ever, right? A lot of times, a Picasso or a Warhol or whatever, they'd sell their art for probably pretty decent sums of money, but nowhere near the amount that it would sell when it changes hands, 10, 15, 20, 100, 1,000 years down the road, right? And of course, the person who is selling it at that point is the recipient of 100% of the money, minus if there's an auction house involved or something like that. Now, with the smart contracts and NFTs and whatnot, you could die, it could go on 100 years, and as long as that smart contract's still functioning and that blockchain is still going, those royalties could be paying for your family or something. And that is a pretty profound thing, right? Like, you are really actually enabling a true creator economy through this stuff. And I think that that's probably one of the most powerful things, is that it sounds corny, but the technology behind it is really what we're betting on right now. A lot of the profile picture projects and shit that I have in my OpenSea wallet are, they'll probably be worthless. Some of them hopefully will make it and whatnot. I don't think Bored Apes or anything are going anywhere, but it's that bet on the technological underpinning of everything that we're doing, as you often say.
Except to New York City for Ape Fest. That's where the Bored Apes are going.
Oh. Are you going to that?
Yeah.
Or you have to have an ape in it?
No. Well, I mean, you have to know an ape.
I know an ape?
Yeah. You just have to get a date with an ape or a mutant. There's a lot.
Maybe someone will lend me their mutant.
Pro tip, guys: there's a lot more female mutants than Bored Apes. So if you're looking for a date, target the mutant community. Pro tip.
All right, let's move on to more NFTs. I did have an article here saying Portugal's status as a crypto tax haven appears to be ending. So if you were planning on moving to Portugal, maybe not the ideal location anymore. The tea leaves were saying that long before this actually happened, though. So
tea leaves always rude.
Well, no, actually, there was a very prominent member of AlphaMint in the DGen dojo saying that he did actually have his tax lawyer looking into Portugal's crypto tax haven status, and that it was very soft, and it was there was provisions in there that enabled them to remove it even retroactively. So there's some pretty big red flags around Portugal, but that wasn't even very long lived. I mean, I think that was under a year. I think now everybody needs those tax dollars. So Portugal's off the table.
Dubai, very, very good for people looking.
Lots of, Dubai, the goal, maybe. I don't know. High times in Web3, a trip to an Ethereum metaverse dispensary. This was interesting. This is put on by Crypto Cannabis Club, which has actually been surprisingly successful. Not really a huge fan of the art there, but I know some background information on them. Or sorry, maybe not background, but some partnerships that they're doing. I don't really see how a cannabis dispensary, could be viable in there, but I do think that there's a lot of merit into, these companies, these brands opening up digital shops and being able to give customer support. As far as I know, as you said, actually, that shipping in cannabis in the States is not legal. I believe it's not legal in Canada as well, but it is the first step into a metaverse of like retail and whatnot. I know we talked about Gucci getting into it as well. Is this a place? Are you going to hang out in Decentraland here at the Crypto Cannabis Club?
Yeah,
you stick it to IRL.
I'm not convinced anybody wants to hang out in the metaverse. Like, okay, so let's break this down to what this could be, right? We know in California, delivery services are they were invented in New York, but the delivery services here are underground or black market still. But in California, there's a very thriving delivery system, and you can order cannabis on an app and have it delivered to your apartment within X amount of time. That seems, I suppose, like something you could incorporate into a DApp. I guess the question for these things is always why, right? Like, what does that do better than Web 2 delivery service, right? Like, people always joke about everyone, I'm going to design the decentralized Uber or the decentralized OnlyFans. And, yeah, you could design all of these things, but one of the big phrases that I always say in regards to crypto is it's a solution in search of a problem. It's not that it can't do certain things better. It's that it doesn't do them so much better that it compels people to change their old ways, right? Remember, people are creatures of habit. In order to introduce a new paradigm into their life, it has to vastly improve their quality of life, right? It either has to make them very rich, it has to get them very laid, or it has to give them a lot of time. This is what
Did you
humans.
say very laid?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is.
okay.
No, it is.
Love it. No, it's true. You're
Humans
100%
are
right. Yeah.
pursuing three things on a
Yep.
daily basis: money, sex, and freedom. All right. These are the three things that we're constantly running around looking for. So if technology can provide quicker and more efficient avenues to those things, I think it can be adopted. Crypto's issue, I believe, up until this point, is it does some things better, just not so much better that it compels people to switch over to this new paradigm. So, is this cute? Is it novel? Yes. I mean, would I, if I were in DCL, would I go see what it looked like? Yeah, but is it a 5-minute thing that then I never go and look at again? I have no idea. I don't think we understand what the metaverse is going to be enough yet to say this is how commerce and things will exist in it. Now, do I think they should not do that? No. Experiment. I mean, there's probably angles I'm not even thinking of, and who knows what's going to catch fire, what's going to become viral, what will become addictive, what people will enjoy doing. Try everything. I don't personally see necessarily the angle in this yet, but who knows?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you in that we have a long ways to go. I think I could convince myself a lot more that places like this will be a hangout in the future. I just don't think that Decentraland is kind of it, or maybe Sandbox. I really do need to go and just investigate this further on my own to try and figure it out. But I always go back to the World of Warcraft players in my life. I'm a big WoW player, although I did play some MMOs before that. And you do really get a sense that people will hang out in a metaverse type thing, and this is going back as much as 20 years at this point, because I do know that people spend a lot of their social hours online hanging out in towns and cities in World of Warcraft, or their guild hall or whatever. Like, people actually are willing to do this, and they're willing to socialize in this, but it was all centered around a game and an in-game economy that they wanted to participate in. And I don't know if Decentraland and Sandbox are even close to hitting those. You use the phrase "a solution in search of a problem." And that's kind of it. Like, they've taken that social element that people have actually done in the past in the World of Warcrafts or the EverQuests or all of these games, but they haven't built it on top of the love for the actual game. I am watching the other side with a lot of interest, because Yuga's funding, their ability to just kind of get it, and then of course the teaser video that they threw out there of the other side, the ape running around it and whatnot. Like, if they can build an actual fun reason to exist in that metaverse, I think they're could build quite a moat around them. But I think there's so many different like fractionalizations of these kind of metaverses and different tokens and coins and stuff out there, that there's not enough like central, and I know people hate that word central, but like, there's not enough central binding force to get everybody into one thing. But that being said, I mean, we are still like incredibly we're still in the early days, the incredibly early days of all of this, and it just has a lot to go. So, I mean, that's my take on it. I do think people can and will do it, but it's we're not even close yet.
I know your hentai waifu is very pretty, but I'm telling you, you guys should try real women. Go out. I don't under. I am really not. I'm very bullish on NFTs. I don't know what the metaverse is. I'm very confused. I feel like technology, when I look at something like Apple Watch, when I look at how technology is moving, it seems we're trying to remove the screens from our life. We're trying to get the benefits of technology without having a 2 or 15-inch screen in front of our face all day experiencing that. I don't think people want virtual reality. I think people want mixed reality. I think people want augmented reality. People want the real interactions with a digital information layer subtly pasted on top. Okay, that is where I think the future is going. So these very deep dive metaverses, I don't know if they have much longevity, but shit, I'll play the Ponzi on the way up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The one thing I will say to that is that, like, with the way that VR technology could actually go, is I think, you know, they're so immersive that when you're wearing them, you actually don't feel like you're looking at a screen. I know the first little bit can be a bit jarring and people get motion sickness. Again, that technology is still very limiting, but you know, I do think that, like, the VR headsets, like, they're either going to be the game changer or they're going to be the next, you know, 3D TVs, which were supposed to change the world. And you know, now, you know, nobody owns a 3D TV, I don't think, right? So we will see the direction that goes. Let's get into actual NFTs now. And let's talk about not okay bears versus okay bears. It looks like the Summer of Sol is going to be happening on Ethereum. I'm sure most of you guys are aware, whether or not you participate in Sol, that OK Bears dropped, and it was kind of the cream of the crop of the Solana ecosystem in terms of profile pictures. I don't think there's any doubt that they're at least very heavily inspired by the Bored Apes. I mean, they're okay. They're pretty boring to me. I don't even know what the high end ones look like. Let's check that out in real time. But they are holding a 260 ETH floor. I'm not sure what that is in terms of ETH, but they're definitely one of the highest ones. Yeah, I mean, these are pretty okay to me, but they have done 1.4 ETH or 1.4 million Solana in volume on the OpenSea network. And then lo and behold, yesterday, in a turn of events that normally happens the other way around, there was an Ethereum project called Not Okay Bears that is an absolute direct ripoff of OK Bears. A la the Funks, they are literally just one for one flipped around. You can
I was
even
like
see
1.4 million in sec. Oh, it's Solana.
it's Solana. Yep.
No,
So
1.4 million in secondary.
yeah, it's again, I'm trying to do the math on it. I could pull a calculator up and maybe
No, they're like 4 ETH. I think they're 4 or 5 ETH right now. Roughly.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
The original OK Bears. Yes.
Now I'm now I'm actually
They're like 14 grand. They're like 14 grand. So they're 6 ETH.
Oh, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
5 to 6 ETH.
Yeah. So correct. Yeah, exactly. 6 ETH. You're 100% right. Anyways, on that note, yeah, OK Bears. Normally we look at the Solana network and go, oh my God, that's a direct copy of the ETH project. That's a direct ripoff of this ETH project. Oh, that's just shit. Blah 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 blah. ETH has turned the tables and has taken in not OK Bears, again, a flipped thing. They, you know, it literally just flipped. The wording is backwards and everything, and it caused quite the stir yesterday. Oh, it just kicked me off of it. I wonder if did OpenSea just delist this?
Huh? They were going to. I heard rumors they were going to.
Oh man, I just refreshed it and it's gone. That was that had to have been like in the last 2 minutes.
No, guys, go head over to Looks Rare and pump my bags over there.
Well, I can't even look at this now, but you know, they went on an absolute tear. I saw somebody mention them just after the show yesterday. They were like 0.03. I thought about buying one. I opted not to, especially just after we had that whole conversation of like the funks and the zunks and whatnot. And you're just like, well, what are you doing? What are you actually investing in? It wasn't a moral thing, but this is kind of what I was worried about. OpenSea has taken them down, but they were up to almost 0.5 each and just having some really, really crazy volume. So yeah, ETH turning the tables on Sol. What's your take?
Yeah, it was a fabulous play if you like buying junk and dumping it on the next unsuspecting idiot, which I especially think in these particular times it's fine because there's no noobs here right now. These are all just moronic traders looking for the next pump. So I enjoy these type of things. This is what I guess the funniest thing here to me is that Solana, The Solana summer that we were all looking forward to seems to be easily kiboshed by an ETH copy or an ETH derivative. Just says to me people want ETH NFTs, and there is no Solana summer, and it's an irrelevant chain. And, you know, I'll eat those words eventually. I know they're building something over. That stupid Stargate Atlas has like 90 employees, $73 million of... It's obviously going to be some fucking thing. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'll shit on Solana till it happens because it's a good name.
I appreciate the honesty, but...
yeah, fuck that chain, but, you know. Did Sam...
really... bullish on Sol. What?
Is Sam really the co-founder of Solana? I fucking loved that guy, and now I gotta find
SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Is he really the co-founder of Solana? Did I hear that yesterday? Makes me very someone in the chat tell us, please. Did he co-found Solana? He's our philosopher king, this guy. I mean, he's one of the mensches of our industry. I would hate to find out he had a hand in this godforsaken chain.
I've seen a couple interviews with him. He is, he's an interesting character, if nothing else, for sure.
Okay,
that's FTX, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will look into that and get back to you. Don't mention Star Atlas around me. Still have all my ships for what reason I don't know. Maybe game by 2025. Hey. It looks fantastic, though.
Being rich in 2025 is going to feel as good as being rich in 2022. So don't worry.
Maybe even better.
Maybe.
That always just reminds me of that, like, Web 2 game, Star Citizen, that's been in the works for like 12 years, and everybody's still excited about it. It's an insane amount of funding.
No, I think I mentioned it like 4 months ago that I do think Solana has potential as a future gaming chain, just based on the way I see. I haven't done my deep dive into the games that they are building over there, but obviously there are certain people you come to learn to listen to and respect in this industry who say that there's something real being built over there. So I don't discount that. But I mean, to strictly esports point, like it could be a 2025 game. What they're building over there is very, very large and ambitious. So I don't know about investment, time schedule. You know, that's a different story, but it looks legit. I can't deny that.
Very, very much so. And that's actually the kind of game where like a crypto can do very well. I mean, I'm very bullish on that idea.
This is just something I think about every day, right? Like we love the nostalgia. We love pixel art. We love a lot of these passive MMORPG, LGBTQs, whatever the fuck they're called. But your average kid, like when they think of a video game, it is these cinematic, slick graphics, insane UI. I mean, the games nowadays are fucking movies, right? Mm-hmm. That's not usually what's being built on chain. So I do wonder whether the average normie can look at these things and digest them as video games. I don't know. That's just I don't know. I'm not.
You know what? I think you would be surprised because of, and I just going off the popularity of something like Roblox, where the graphics are really underwhelming, like incredibly underwhelming. Like, and Minecraft is kind of like beautiful in its own way, but it isn't like
Among Us too, right? That's very simple. Like it's
but that's got the cartoony vibe. Like it is simple. Yeah, you're 100% right.
It's not. Yeah. It's not like a 3D world you're in or whatever. Yeah.
There's tons of room for that too, for sure. Even like text-based gaming, like Dungeons and Dragons, which is like, you know, in real life kind of thing, still has tons of people playing.
I really didn't know what I would think about dungeon crawl. You know, I am one of the people that loves the passive yield farm thing. Like I know it's not sustainable, and I know, you know, but
you won't sit there and play games all day.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard for me. Like I can't. It's hard for me to spend more than like 20 or 30 minutes. I get antsy. I want to go do something else or whatever, and that's just me. It's not a call on anyone else, but I have been surprised how much I want to play dungeon crawl. Like I don't earn enough Zug to be able to play as much as I want. Like, I'll put it to you that way. Like, I run out of Zug before I want to stop playing. So that's how much I'm enjoying. And it is, I guess you would compare it to Dungeons, and because it's a turn-based game, right? You do an action, you wait for your opponent to do an action, the bosses in the computer, whatever, and then you do another. It's turn-based, so it's not like you're reacting to something they're doing in real time. But I enjoy the hell out of it. It's fun. There's strategy to it. And of course, the reward at the end of opening these chests feels like, like gambling. It feels good. It feels fun.
Well, on that note, let's get into the Star Wolves tokenomics while we're talking about P2E, because I have that pulled up, and I know I mentioned in the Star Wolves Discord that we were going to talk about it again. But yesterday we talked about on the Twitter Spaces for Moon Monday, we dropped some bombs about the tokenomics behind Star Wolves, and sent some people into a bit of a frenzy trying to dissect it all and whatnot. Do you want to start breaking down that while I pull up the infographic there, because it was a hell of an announcement. Are you there?
Yes, I was talking on mute. Yesterday, we had our Moon Monday, and we announced our tokenomics. So we have an infographic, of course, today that everybody can go check out on the Star Wars, but I will go over the finer points as I did yesterday. And we have announced that it is a capped supply. So this is the first factor for you to consider, is that this will not be an unlimited supply token. Other games out there basically have unlimited supplies, whether you're talking about Ether Orcs, whether you're talking about Raid Party. You can just continue to make the token. We have capped the supply. We are going to be releasing a light paper over the next couple of weeks that go into great details. We just wanted to give people the overall finer points that you'll be using for your strategy. And of course, the math and the deep dives will be in the light paper. So I'm just giving you a very brief overview here, but there's your first one: capped versus unlimited. We're going with a capped supply. We do want to remind you that if you have been playing in the Discord, if you start playing today, the game has already begun, and we will be taking a snapshot of your XP in the Discord, and it will translate to an airdrop of Stardust. Okay, this is our utility token that is an ERC20. It is Stardust, and you will get an airdrop relative to your XP from the Discord. So do not forget to get in there and play if you haven't. Okay, now, daily earnings. Genesis Wolves will earn 50 Stardust a day. Generative Wolves will earn 5 Stardust a day. That is, of course, when your wolves are soft staked. We are going to be releasing a dashboard, which the beta has launched for our Genesis Wolves. We talked about that yesterday, and we are going to be adding in generatives as we work out the bugs and make sure everything is smooth. This is going to show you your soft staking. Okay, so what is soft staking? Soft staking is when you have an NFT in your wallet, so we know it's there, we can take snapshots, but you don't have to pay an action to stake it into a new contract. We wanted to reduce those costs as much as possible to appeal to traditional gaming. After all, gamers are not used to paying money for every action that they take. And while I am a proponent of staking, we do think we have found a great medium here, which we call soft staking, and will be based on time in wallet. So remember, do not move those wolves out. If you move those wolves out, you will reset. Okay, so that is your staking existing in your wallet. There is a full squad multiplier. This is something we've talked about since Mint, since before Mint. It is 3 wolves to a pack. What is a pack? What is a full squad? Well, that full squad will give you a 10% multiplier on your daily earnings. Okay.
Across all of the wolves in the wallet, correct?
Across all the wolves in the wallet.
That was a big question that was popping up in the Discord a lot was, why can't we have multiple squads in the same wallet? And does that apply? Do the wolves that aren't in the actual squad still create a yield? And the answer to that would be yes, they do still create a yield, but you know, it's not a 10% bonus per three that you
Per
have,
three
because I
wolves.
think that would, yeah, I think that would create a situation where people who can throw as much money at as they want at it could get really, really outsized bonuses too, right?
Here is our biggest concern. We do not want whale dominance in the game. Okay. And it is something that is very difficult to fight against. But one thing that I thought Raid Party did very well, though it does frustrate the larger players, is you could only have one party per wallet. That means my homie Celesco, who has 50 teams, has to have 50 wallets to go manage that. Imagine that daily management of having to go to 50 separate wallets
Yeah,
to
no, I
deal with
can't.
your raid party teams. So it is, while of course there's no way to completely prevent whales from playing big. I mean, that's just what whales do. We would like to limit their advantages as much as possible. So that would be one pack per wallet. Obviously, you can have as many wolves in that wallet as you want. You will still get your daily earnings, but that 10% multiplier doesn't continue to increase per three wolves. But if you have 10 packs, 10 wallets, three wolves in each, you're getting your 10% on each, of course. And that's
But
how
it wouldn't make a difference because you'd be getting that 10% anyways. The only advantage
exactly.
would be you could have multiple
It's
active missions going.
multiple active. And again, it is really just about creating one extra layer of work to slow down whales, right? We're just trying to slow them down a bit so they don't gain a completely unfair advantage. All right.
Yeah, if they want that advantage, then it does cost to transfer into different
Mhm.
wallets and set it up that way, right? That's exactly it.
Now, this is something that I believe is unique to our project. One of my favorite factors here. Okay. The percentage multiplier and even your earnings will be based on seasons. That would be seasons of the game and the moon cycles. Okay. We are wolves, we are driven by the moon. You better get to learn your moon cycles, new moon, quarter moon, waxing gibbon. You better get in there
I love it.
because this is going to impact your average reward rates in the game. Love that. Very fun. Why are you
Yeah.
earning this token? Why are you earning Stardust? Let's talk about some of your initial sinks, okay? You are 50 Stardust activation, okay? PvP competitions are going to be ready to go at full game launch. These are going to be winner take all token payouts, player versus player. We are so excited about that.
I think you're getting rugged a little bit on your microphone there.
Community and competition aspect of any gaming up until this point. So this is something that we're leaning into, whether it's PvP and leaderboards, we take that very seriously. Those are some of your initial syncs. Of course, the Moon Pass, which we have not released complete details on yet, that will have great utility within the game and cost 1,000 Stardust as well. So these are your basics regarding the tokenomics. Like I said, we will have a light paper coming out in the next few weeks that are really going to dive deep into the math and some of the finer details of it. But that is your Star Wars tokenomics. Go check out the Twitter for the infographic.
Yeah, so sick. And I want to just add a couple of things because I did see some people asking questions in the Discord about like the moon pass or whatever. And some people likened it to chain scouts and how you could mint a pass through that or whatnot. This isn't going to be like an NFT, like a mint pass or anything like that. I want you guys to think more along the lines of like a battle pass in Fortnite or a rocket pass in Rocket League or something, right? Where you're going to commit X amount of of tokens, in this case 1,000 Stardust, and then you're going to have access to rewards as you progress and level up throughout the game, kind of unlocking them in the way. And in a way, we're kind of thinking about that as another almost token staking mechanism, right? Where you're putting it up front for the battle pass with the participant, with the expectations of rewards for participation. And that's one of the really cool things that you always talk about too. And we go back to that Kobe article about what is staking, right? Staking is securing the network. It's allowing people to participate in the network. It's not just this arbitrary, I'm going to commit something to a smart contract and I'm going to get more out, right? Like, this is a way of working for it, right? So if you're participating in the game and you're playing the game, and you are going through the motions of doing it all, that staking mechanism will yield you rewards as well. But it does come proof of work. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Proof of work.
Right?
That is what staking should be based on, right? I think I have talked about for months, and now you're seeing it happen in front of your eyes. So fuck you if you didn't believe me. But DeFi is dead. Okay? DeFi has been dying a slow death, and you're watching it. You're watching the last bastions of this fucking Ponzi nonsense we've been going through for years now die. Okay, DeFi is over. All right, you can put it to bed. Now this is what comes out.
We start to call it like PlayFi or something like that.
Right. What comes out of it and where this money is going is profoundly interesting to me. When we had staking originally, it was based on work, validation. If you stake your tokens in my protocol, I'm not just going to give you more tokens. You got to do shit. You got to work. You got to support this protocol. You got to make it more than it was before. That is how staking should work. That is why I believe gaming makes such sense in regards to stake. You're literally asking the person to stake their asset. You will pay them in tokens, but they must work. They must participate in the protocol. This is why I think gaming is such a natural extension. It's also why I think most of that money is going to rotate into NFTs. I talked about this the other day, okay? NFTs are a $20 billion market. That's right. Add up the market cap of every NFT project, every token associated with it. It's $20 billion. That is fucking nothing. It's not even a small cap.
And most of that's Bored Apes
on Wall Street. This is nothing, okay? Our industry is 1.5 trillion. I don't know what it is since the crash. Whatever the fuck crypto adds up to, $1 trillion, 2 trillion, something like that. Most of that capital is in pointless protocols. That capital's misallocated. I believe most of it is about to rotate into NFTs, and the most liquid direct bet on NFTs, ApeCoin, period. ApeCoin, I believe, is going to be the third largest crypto in the world. It's going to be by a lot. It's going to be a $100 billion coin, and that is precisely why. One thing I forgot to mention, which is extremely important to me, is that LP staking rewards are going to be available on the launch of the game. We've seen other projects fail to do that, and it has been detrimental to keeping their LP healthy through slower periods of the game. And one thing that we wanted to have ready to go was a two-prong approach to LP staking with both traditional LP rewards via Uniswap and the tokens that they deal out, and additional Stardust provided by us to juice those rewards and get up the total value locked. Also, creating a new type of token that we are tentatively calling eDust that will be a one-way LP staking mechanism. In other words, you will stake the LP and receive LP tokens from Uniswap. That's normally how it works. You will then trade those LP tokens for eDust. That eDust is one way. You cannot trade it back for LP tokens, but you can take that eDust, stake it within the game for certain utility. This utility will be extremely advantageous to those that use it, and it creates value locked in the LP that cannot be withdrawn. Not only that, all those LP tokens now in possession of the Star Wolves contract are earning an interest. That interest gets to be pumped back into the game. So these are the two types of LP staking rewards we're going to have ready to go at launch. And that was just something I wanted to mention in regards to our tokenomics, as I know the LP, the pool associated with it, how it's funded, how it's maintained, that's extremely important to the early health of a game, and it's something that we're taking very seriously.
Yeah, this was a huge announcement. It was a lot of fun, listening to you guys talk about the tokenomics, digging deep into it, putting the infographic together. Even just the response after the Twitter Spaces yesterday was incredibly bullish. I'm so continually proud of the things that we're putting together. And again, it sounds corny. We say it all the time. Markets are down, builders build, right? It's what you got to do. It's you just put your head down and don't worry about the external factors. Just keep doing stuff like this. So we are really, really excited to share that with everyone. And it was one of the bigger announcements. That pregame dashboard is going to be going live very, very soon too. So keep an eye out for that. Fun stuff. All right, my dude, what do you got going on today? You got the squeeze coming up at noon. I caught yesterday's. It was very entertaining as always. Thank you for the shout out from Michael. Appreciate that. I'll have to come on the show sometime. I don't know what you guys want from me, but always love what you guys do over there.
Please do come on up there. Yeah, yesterday was Market Mondays, which we try to have a general community discussion about markets. Just get people up there.
There's a lot of meat on that bone these days.
Yeah, especially the last. In fact, I would say most of the morning squeezes the last few weeks have been dominated by markets. It's just what is on everybody's mind, of course, given the crash. And yesterday was a good one. We have some great guests coming up. Man, should I even leak it? I don't even know if I'm allowed to leak who's coming on the show. It could be a blast from everybody's past. I'll give you a hint. TRL. That's the only hint I will give.
What?
And no, is that not a good? Okay, let me think.
Well, I know what TRL means to me.
Yeah. Total Request Live.
Yeah. I don't think. I wonder what age group that gets cut off at.
I know. This is gonna be. We got a good guest coming.
Yeah. I would say. Am I on the right track if I'm talking about the host of TRL?
You are.
Okay, but it's not the host of TRL.
It is.
What?
It is. Yeah.
You get Carson Daly?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
We had Kenny Lofton last week. Little Lemon Lofton. Shout out to the homie Little Lemon Lofton.
What does Carson Daly have to do with NFTs?
Excuse me. Stop asking why we're getting all these celebrities.
Okay. All right.
We had Al Pacino last week. Al Pacino's daughter, who's putting out a fabulous NFT project related to film. Please check out that one. We had Little Lemon Lofton. Shout out to Hall of Famer Kenny Lofton, who came on last week and is a regular fixture on the morning squeeze. We love Little Lemon Lofton. And yeah, Carson.
That one makes me laugh every time. Like, all due respect to Kenny Lofton, he's a great baseball player. But when you told me that he jumped into the lemons, I was just like, my mind was just fucking blown.
Little Lemon Lofton, baby. Love him. What lemons are going to go to fight? I talk about it all the time. There's communities out there that are annoying, right? Like, they don't go away. They're persistent. They bother you. Those are the ones, okay? Dead fellas, fucking lazy lions, sappy sea. They're just persistent. They don't go away. They're annoying. Watch out for those communities, I'm telling you. They just exist. They're not asking for it. There's no pressure. They're just existing, and you'll see when the hype cycles come back around. They always catch those. It's never on the first part of the hype cycle. Like, first part of the hype cycle is usually 0.01 something gets hot. People start putting out the 0.01 derivatives again. You see a bunch of pumps make your friends rich. Hey, Not Okay Bears could have been that. Not Okay Bears could start the next NFT bull run. No shit like that. That's just how those things work, right? And this is these little chains of events, so to say. So I could I could see one of those getting kicked off because of that.
Yeah, well, the December one was Lemon Friends, Alien Friends, and it wasn't Achievement, but Cool Man's Universe. Like, I mean, that really got things moving. It
Well,
might have been just fortuitous timing too,
I
but
would argue Artifact is really what started the bull run in December. They were acquired in November by Nike. We saw an incredible blue
that's
chip
fair.
move off of that, and then we saw fabulous collections start. You know, whether it was Cool Man's, Alien Friends, Little Lemon Friends, people started to feel bullish again. And then, boy, the late December to late January derivative period of just 10 things a day minting, all under 0.04. Everything was a fucking cook to 0.2, and yeah. No, it's fun. Every time those period ends, and then we go through what we just went through. NFTs are dead, never coming back. Markets learned, never gonna happen. Yeah, the market's learned. Not okay, bears. Fuck off. The market's never gonna learn. These are rolling pump and dumps. They're always gonna come back because people always want to get rich.
As some people say, just to feel something at this point. No, I am excited for all things to come. You know, you do. I think it sounds, because I don't want people to lose their shirts or money that they, you know, maybe overextended themselves with or anything like that. But going through a couple of these cycles, I do think is really important. I think it tempers, or it just kind of brings in a lot of expectations, because, you know, some of these bull runs that we've been in, they're not sustainable like that. You need these resets, you need these expectations to kind of just cool off, and then when you survive it, you come out the other side of it, maybe you're bruised, battered, maybe you're down, but you give another go at it, and you take all of those things that you learned throughout those cycles, and you just get better at it. You get more tolerant towards it. You understand that these things you know, can't last in the way that they are forever. So you know, next time you're maybe a little bit more liquid. Next time you take a couple of those projects where you were like, I'm not sure, maybe this one could be good, but you, in your heart, you know, it's probably something you shouldn't be holding on to. And you get rid of it earlier next time and whatnot. So you take all of these as a learning experience, and you kind of got to get your lumps in, right?
ETH and the market have been absolutely pasted here now in the last 20
Did we
minutes.
just get trounced?
Yeah. ETH is down $60 off the high.
Yep.
Markets are down half what they were up, and we're going to see if Jay Powell turns everything around. But they're very persistent. The bears know the jig is up if we start to get moving here. So you can expect them to put in a nice fight. Thank you. I love I gotta say, man, I'm going to open up probably 10 wallets today just to go mint more scientists. I'm obsessed. I fucking love the art. I love what 3L put together. Man, they look great. They look great.
Yeah, he is an incredible pixel artist, man.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very, very good. Top tier. Nice scientist. All right, my friend. I think we could.
No, you keep forgetting. Play us out.
Okay. Well, I will play it after we do the wrap up, and I'll let the show run to finish it off. But of course, we are going to be playing Crypto Boy. Let me figure out
one Bitcoin.
I got to figure out how to do this. Chrome tab. There it is. Okay, perfect. All right, can we see it?
Oh boy.
Okay, I will bring that up in a second. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this bad boy up besides Crypto Boy?
But I thought Ethereum was going to get me out of this town.
You could just sing it for us. I'm fine with that.
I'm telling you, huh?
I said you could just sing it for us. I'm fine with that.
No. We got to hear. It's shout out to the homies.
You should do a duet in there.
Well, we're good. Man, NFT NYC is going to be. It's everybody's jam, boy. This is the anthem of the fucking NFT world. I am telling you, this is going to blow up so big next month at NFT NYC. I can't wait for it. That's going to be a time, people. You think fucking Mardi Gras? You think Las Vegas? NFT NYC is going to be stupid. Get there. Do anything you have to do. Show up.
Yeah.
FTC will take care of you.
All right. On that note, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Again, if you tuned in late, always recorded, always up on YouTube for you to listen to. We talked a lot about the crypto market and the S&P, again, the macro situation, where all of that is going. We talked a little bit about the metaverse, retail shops opening up, how that's going to apply, if people will even show up to that. Not a lot of activity right now, but that could change. It depends. We talked about OK Bears and not OK Bears. It literally got delisted from OpenSea in real time while we were on the show. So I hope if you were in not OK Bears, you got out, or of course, Looks Rare is still there up and running, and they won't be taking that down over there. We talked about Augmented Labs, the scientists, towards the beginning of the show. And then, of course, we talked about the Star Wolves Medium article about tokenomics, did a recap of the Twitter spaces we did last night, and that was all very good. Very, very excited for all things Star Wolves. Love you guys. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to close this show with the Crypto Boy song. And then once that's done, we will be out of there. So free market. Get us out of here, my dude.
Good luck at the tables, DJs.
Didn't expect you to understand it, but how the fuck you taking my portfolio for granted? And she said to me, why you never have sex with me? Cause I'm too busy showing you all my NFTs. Hold up, how do you expect me to feed you? Got plenty of Ethereum, Shiba and Inu. She said I felt like it's time for a job, I'm good. I got one, baby, it's called Robin Hood. I know the market like the back of my hand, but baby girl, can I borrow a grand?
I don't care about your crypto, boy. Not even one thing.
You always seem to find a way to tear things down, but this Ethereum is gonna get me out this town. You seen these tips yet? We could be so rich, but I won't take it to the moon if you don't wanna come with. I need that fast life, you making mixtapes, so please enlighten me how I'm so damn delusional, babe. You're a musician, you work at Arby's, that's why I hate when you say